But those who peddle conspiracy theories like these aren't just bumping up the thermostat a few degrees. They're kind of turning on the gas and trying to light a match. Joining us now, Republican Congresswoman Laurel Lee of Florida. She's on the bipartisan task force to investigate the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. She's also a former judge and federal prosecutor. She serves on the House Judiciary Committee as well. Congresswoman, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right. Do you think that my monologue here is being unfair in my concern about these conspiracy theories?
Well, I think what you're hearing is a tremendous amount of distrust. And I will say, some of that is predicated in fact. We had just a few months ago Democrats in Congress calling for an end to any Secret Service protection for President Trump. And the rhetoric is so harsh against him. So I absolutely agree that I think it's constructive at this point. What we need to do is exactly what this task force has been given the responsibility of doing. We need to get to the facts. We need to talk to all of the witnesses, the local law enforcement, the people who were at the rally, the Secret Service agents who were involved, and get the information. Because when there is a lack of transparency, that's when Americans are left to try to draw their own conclusions. And that's what we're seeing here, is a lack of information. It's impossible to understand how a failure this critical could have happened. And so what we need to do is, as quickly as possible and as fairly as possible, get Americans the answers that they need.
I think you're right about the lack of transparency. It does lead to things like this. But do you think it's possible that the Secret Service or Christopher Wray orchestrated an assassination plot on President Trump?
Well, one thing I'll say, from my years as a federal prosecutor, is that sometimes people will surprise you. And the whole purpose of an investigation is that you don't reach a conclusion before you start. You go the opposite direction. You let the facts and the evidence show you what happened.
And there's no evidence.
That's what we'll be doing. And this group of members of the task force, we have former law enforcement, we have former prosecutors, we have former members of the military. So this is a group that is very well equipped to start from the ground up, figure out what happened. I know last week I had the opportunity to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and seeing the site itself was incredibly impactful. Anyone who's been there will tell you it's a very small location. There were not very many buildings that needed to be secured. So the depth of this failure is very clear. And it is important that we get to the bottom, because they're still out there. President Trump is having a rally today. The vice president will be having rallies in coming days as well. We need to be sure that when they are out there continuing to campaign, that Secret Service understands what went wrong here and can keep them protected.
But I think you'd agree, as a former judge and a former federal prosecutor, that making accusations against people or entities without any evidence to support it is not where you want to start, right?
Well, sure. That's not what we do. What we are going to do is start with the evidence and see where that takes us. But I think the concern, the level of fear and concern is really coming from a place of it being just so hard to understand how something like this could have happened, and how grave this experience was, and how important it is that we ensure that it never happens again. So I know our task force, we come in where the evidence will take us. That is our job, to make sure that we get those answers and get them to the American people. And I think we are uniquely equipped to do that because of the resources and the ability that we have to bring all of the interested parties together.
Yeah, we're counting on your task force, right? We're counting on you guys, because this is important. I don't care where you stand on the political landscape. It is critical for all the reasons that you've laid out, for us to get these answers. I think maybe you're a little more forgiving than I am of those who are already pointing fingers without having evidence to back it up. I would rather them speak the way you're speaking, which is, let's see where this takes us. The lack of transparency is getting us into trouble, than saying, oh yeah, putting up a big picture of Christopher Wray or suggesting that the Secret Service were behind it when they have no evidence to support it. But
Well, certainly we want to have faith in our institutions of government and our federal law enforcement officers. We need them and our country to be following the oaths they take and keeping our country safe. So, certainly as we go through this investigation, we will be expecting accountability. We will be expecting answers. But absolutely, we are going to follow the facts, follow the law as we go forward.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.